Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today for this academic engagement and support session. This session's been specially designed for our international offer holders who are joining us for September 2024 intake. Now, the session is recorded, nothing to worry about. So if your internet does drop or anything, we'll be able to review getting you a copy of the recording later. There are some features that we'll be using in today's webinar, so you should see some buttons on screen. So you've got the chat. Please do feel free to use the chat to talk to each other. Just be mindful about what personal details you're sharing in there though. And then we've also got the Q&A buttons. You can use those if you do have any questions for us panelists today. Please do pop them in the Q&A box instead of the chat, just because the chat moves quite quickly and we don't want to miss any either. Now, we'll just introduce you to who we've got hosting the webinar today. So my name's Kat, and I'll be keeping an eye on the chats and the Q&A to try and answer your questions typed as we go.
Hi everybody, my name's Ellen. I work in the international office, and like Kat, I'll be helping with the Q&A. So as Kat said, any questions, pop them in and we'll be happy to help.
And we are your main presenters, I guess. So I'm Mark Holloway, I'm Head of Academic Skills.
And I'm Mary Martello-Lockett, and I'm Deputy Head of Academic Skills. Hi, everyone.
So you're in good hands today, everyone. So any questions as you go about anything you see on the slides or anything we're talking about, please do use that Q&A. I'd also recommend in the Q&A, there's actually going to be a section for answered questions. So these are questions that me and Ellen will be typing the answers to as we go. So check those out as well, because you might find that somebody's asked a question that you were curious about too. But what I'll do now is I will hand the floor to Mark and Mary to take us through the slides.
I need to reshare, right? Can you currently see slides?
Yeah, the slides are on screen, so we're good to go.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for who's joining live. Thank you also if you're watching a recording of this from the future. So as we said, I'm Mark, and this is my dear colleague Mary, and we are from a central department called Hearts Academic Skills. Our aim is to help all students at the university to achieve their academic goals. And in this webinar, we're going to talk you through some of our activities to help you with your expectations ahead of coming to Hertfordshire, and to give you some insight into the support that's available for you and the wonderful and interesting things you're going to do while you're here. So coming up in this session, Mary is going to talk you through academic skills at Hertfordshire. Then I'll be talking about two AIs. I'll be talking about academic integrity and artificial intelligence. And at the end, I'll tell you a little bit about personal tutoring. As we've said, please, you're free to put questions in the Q&A, and we'll allow some time at the end for further questions at the end. And we'll make sure that we try and leave everyone with answers to their questions before we go. So handing over to Mary.
Thank you, Mark. So yes, welcome everybody. And I wonder if you can have your mobile phones available if you're not already using them, because I'll be asking you to respond to some questions on Mentimeter. I don't want today to just be about information giving. I don't want you to be bored of listening to us, so I'd like you to take part. So please have your mobile phones to hand. If you're not able to use it for any reason, please don't worry. You can still take part in what's happening today. So first of all, I'd like you to join Menti. And if you type into your phones menti.com, you should be able to get the app, put in the code that is shown on the screen, and you'll be ready to start taking part. And the very, very first question for you when you're in is really, what are you most looking forward to from coming to Hertfordshire and studying here? we'd love to hear what your thoughts are before you come. So feel free. You could be one word, it could be a short phrase. You don't have to write an entire paragraph. Looking forward to some responses.
I can see some people are typing directly into the chat. If you follow the URL that's been posted in the chat, it will take you straight to this slide, and you'll be able to see all of the slides that we're presenting. You'll be able to follow live. So once you've logged into Menti, you can stay there and you can keep interacting with our different questions.
Fabulous. There are answers coming in. To grow, to make new friends, to meet new people. Studying, yeah, I hope so. Knowledge, experience, diversity, upgrade skills, sports, robotics, academic excellence. Fabulous. Have you been reading our website? Oh, this is amazing. Thank you, guys. Good education. Well, we certainly hope we can give you all of those and more. I love terms like unleashing my potential. That's fabulous. Yeah.
That's what I
Great.
hear.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's great to see that you are excited about coming. And I'd like to try this one next. Oops. Okay, so you are all from all over the world, I gather, and I'm not going to ask the question, where are you from? Because we could spend the entire webinar with responses, and we welcome you all. Your experiences of studying in your home country might be quite different to the UK. So I'd like you to think for a little bit and compare what your experience is from studying at home to the kind of thing you expect to find when you come to Hertfordshire. Fabulous. Hi. So there's a lot on practical knowledge as opposed to theory, and meeting people globally and diversity. That's really important. Advanced technology. Hopefully we can offer you all of that. And practical skills and experience.
Lots of kind of more practical and turning from theory to practice. It's really interesting.
That's fantastic. Yes, there's a lot on practicality. Okay. So, oh, similarity of learning. There's so much to read. Thank you. And they keep coming. I can't read that fast. But that's fantastic. And I hope you can all see that you share with each other a lot of similar sort of thinking about when you come here and what you expect to find. That's fabulous. Thank you. So really, because for example, you come from a more theoretical background, let's say, and there is perhaps more a practical element here. There is also the difference of how to go about studying, and about the different assessments that we have and the different needs that you may have. So this is really what I wanted to have a look at with you today and tell you a little bit about what's available, but also see what you are feeling confident in and what you feel perhaps you would like to know more about. I do appreciate you responding, by the way. This is fabulous. So really, this term, academic skills, what is it? What does academic skills mean to you? And you've got sort of 6 different responses. Just tick as many as you think are relevant, appropriate. One each. Fab.
Avoiding tricky questions in class
I know.
presentations is not doing well.
No. But we have answers as well for mastering the art of citing sources in APA format, which is interesting. I wonder how many of you actually, are aware of what APA format really is and how many different types there are. Okay, so we've got a winner with knowing how to effectively study and retain information, closely followed up by mastering time management and organizational skills. And then the others are, pretty well matched with effective oral and written communication and being able to write clear and concise essays. I'm interested by the majority being the studying, retaining information and time management and organizational skills, with only 35 responses writing clear and concise essays. And the only reason I'm surprised is because there are quite a few of assignments in the UK that will require you to write clear and concise essays. So again, something to remember coming from a background, if perhaps the background is more a multiple choice type of assessment, that you will see more of reading and academic writing whilst you're here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can you please share what you think is an example of good time management from the responses offered?
Note that it says good time management.
Yeah. It's not necessarily the kind of thing that you do now, perhaps, but it might be what you think good time management actually means. I think there are.
There's a very clear winner.
Yeah, there's a clear winner. And I wonder how many of you are actually able to stick to it, to actually create a study schedule and stick to it. And of course, bearing in mind you're coming to the UK, everything is new and exciting. You've got a lot of opportunities for sport, for going out. There's a lot of free time because we don't try and cram lots of things in lectures, but we expect you to read outside. So you've got to make meals for yourself, you've got to sleep. And there's the odd kind of computer game that I'm sure you kind of like to go on. So there are a lot of things that you have to juggle when you're here. So time management is certainly one of them. And it is an area that we can help you with, but I can talk about that a little bit later. So thank you for responding to that. My next question really is, okay, taking notes. Taking notes when you're in a lecture or even in a workshop. What do you think the main purpose is? I'm also aware for this being recorded that those of you who are watching this as a recording, you're not quite able to take part in the same way with Mentimeter. But as the questions come up, do please think about them. Take the time to think about how you think you might answer the question, and then you'll see the answers that come up as well.
For the 3 people so far who've said drawing doodles in the margins is what they do when taking notes. As an undergraduate, I did that pretty much for 3 years.
But I think, you know what? I think that's part of, if you enjoy it, and if you're writing things down, at the same time you're listening and drawing doodles because it helps you and it makes you feel better, there's nothing wrong with that. But then trying to interpret those doodles for like when you're actually then trying to write your essay, that's when you find that they haven't been particularly.
Main purpose is stretching it.
Yeah. So recording important information for later review. Perfect. I love how someone responded to how many words you can write in a minute. Yes, it can be quite difficult and you can sort of end up with shorthand.
But a lot of people take notes like that these days, especially if you've got a laptop in a lecture. A lot of students try to write everything down. And once you're here, we'll give you guidance on how you might find better ways to take notes.
Exactly. Because remember, the information that you're being given is probably being shown to you through a PowerPoint. So there is, there is scope for you to use that PowerPoint to add your notes to, rather than be writing down everything that the lecturer is saying. Okay, thank you very much again for doing this. Another question is, okay, reading academic texts in order to write for an assignment. What's the key reason to read academic texts? I like the idea for random trivia. Does help sometimes in quizzes. There may be things that you discover when you're reading that you can use in random trivia. Gathering as many quotes as possible to fill up the pages. A lot of writing can be, how many things can I put from the text into my essay, put quote marks around it, and I've responded to the essay title. But again, we can help you see better ways of working, because that's not going to get you many marks.
I think at the beginning of a degree program, when you're writing an assignment, often the first thought is, how can I possibly get to the total number of words I need? But at the end of the degree program, it's like, how can I bring it down to the number of words I need?
That's it. Thank you. The majority of you have voted on understanding the context and supporting your arguments, which is absolutely right. And again, you know, we can help you with that when you're here. So another question really is, what do you think academic writing needs usually? Okay, and we're going for sort of using clear language. And there are a few, including difficult words to sound smarter. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of, in order to write academically, I need to show that my vocabulary is huge and I use these words from my thesaurus and dictionary that people might not necessarily understand, but they sound good. So you need to sort of bear in mind that it's about clarity. And very often clarity means language that everybody can understand. So again, it's an area that we can help you with when you're here. And I love that somebody's voted using emojis, text speak, emojis in academic writing. They'll just get kind of an exclamation mark, but you know, you might amuse your lecturer at the same time. Okay, and another question for you is critical research. When you're researching, and that's usually to respond to an assignment, but also because you're interested in something, which is a critical research skill? And I wonder, you know, if I remove the word critical and I just said, what's a research skill? Many of you would probably be Googling keywords. And Googling keywords is a way that many people start. And again, you know, what are the keywords? Why Google? Is there anywhere else that I can go looking for information? What's good information? What can I use? What shouldn't I be using? These are all questions that, you know, as 89, 90 you're now answering, is about evaluating sources for credibility and relevance. How credible is the source that I'm reading from? And is it Google? Is it Wikipedia that could have been written by anybody? We need to look at that with you and help you identify what these sources are. Okay. Another one is presentations. Because when you are here, there will be opportunities for you to actually present as part of an assessment, and as sort of practice, because again, later on in your careers, many of you will find yourselves giving presentations. So what's the purpose of an oral presentation? Do you want me to try and see how long I can talk without taking a breath? I'm not sure really how long I can do it for, Mark, but it's good. I'm going to run out of breath in a minute. I'm going to go very red, but I love that somebody's chosen that. But yes, the majority of you are again, it's about clarity. It's about communication and clarity. In the same way earlier that we were looking at writing and being clear in order to communicate our message to our audience, it's exactly the same with an oral presentation, only this time you're communicating orally. And it's all about clarity and who your audience is.
That word audience is so important when you're writing, when you're speaking at university, thinking about the audience and addressing them. That's the key.
Thank you. Again, avoid complicated words. Okay. And this question is about referencing. When we write academically and we read from the sources that we were talking about earlier, you reference those sources. And why? What's the point? Why do we do it? To confuse your reader. So your paper looks longer. We're going back to, yeah, exactly. It's about, oh my gosh, how do I fill these pages? Yeah, we're all going along sort of the same lines of crediting original authors. And Mark here will be talking to you in a little while about academic integrity. And you know why we reference. It's not just about putting full stops and brackets in the right place and using italics, or it's actually about giving credit to the person who has provided you with the information that you're using. But Mark will go into that in more detail.
And you'll get lots of help if you need it when you're here. If you're watching this and thinking, wow, there's 107 people who know all about this, and I don't know what referencing means, or I don't know what plagiarism means, don't worry, you've got plenty of time. And we put lots of emphasis on helping you to understand what we mean by this when you're here.
Absolutely. For all of these questions that I'm asking, it's really to say, guys, we're here. However you're responding and whatever your thoughts are, we will be here. And unfortunately, part of studying, which involves deadlines and handing things in on time and having exams possibly on some of your courses, there will be some stress. Stress is kind of normal in our lives, but it depends on how you handle it and how long you have it for. So the best way that you're saying there is developing effective study habits and taking breaks. Perfect. And I think the other responses are very realistic about how people actually sometimes deal with stress, but they're not necessarily the best for you, your health and your studies overall. So again, we can help you with how to handle academic stress when you're here. Okay, now the reason, actually, I'm not going to go to that in a second. The reason I've been talking about all of these is really to say every area that I've tried to cover with you today is about your studies, the skills that you will need when you're here, and the fact that you will be at different stages. Some of you have a lot of confidence in doing all of these different things, presenting, writing academically, referencing, reading and taking notes. Others might feel a little bit anxious about it or uncertain. Wherever you are on this scale, we will be here to help you. So it really, please don't worry about if you haven't been able to answer all these in the way that you would have wanted to. We will be here to help you along the way, because our aim is to help you succeed. Okay, so one final slide from me on Mentimeter is really, how confident are you? How confident do you now feel about these different areas? And you need to go on how far you agree or disagree with the statements that you see.
And perhaps if you're not on Menti or you're watching a recording of this, you could write these statements down before you start studying, and then maybe look back at them every month and see how your confidence is changing and growing over time. And don't worry if you sometimes feel a bit less confident during the year, because sometimes it's understanding more can sometimes make you think, okay, I haven't quite, I was confident because I didn't quite know what I was confident about, but you know, now I need to build more confidence in this particular area. Confident people in this webinar, right?
Yeah, love it. And again, I think one thing to say here is this is amazing that, you know, you're feeling as confident as you are. But like Mark says, if that changes during the time that you're here, then it doesn't matter. You know, breathe, don't stress, we can help. But there are differences. For example, you may come from an environment where you're getting marks at the moment in the 80s or 90s, you know, 80–90%, let's say, on your studies. And you'll find that in the UK, maybe you're getting 60s or 70s. And that is because that is how we mark. It's not that suddenly all that confidence that you had and all that ability that you had has gone down by 20%. It's just that in the UK, culturally, the system of marking is quite different. We found that a lot with our international students. So when you receive your first assignment, you may be a little bit surprised if the mark is lower than what you're used to, and your confidence may drop as a result. But again, with our help and you know, talking to us and taking part in our workshops and finding us, we can help you see that you are doing well. And if you're still getting really high marks, we can help you get even higher ones. If you are getting slightly lower marks, we can help you improve those marks. Okay, so we are here really with everything that you need. The way you can find us, and this is where let me see if my digital skills are working at all. If you pop this down on a bit of paper or somewhere, but you will see this again. So don't worry if you're not able to note it down now. We have a site at go.herts.ac.uk/academic-skills. And this site, if we click on it, takes you to our module website. And this is our Herts Academic Skills website. And within that, you have a variety of sources on, for example, academic skills in your school. You have information on developing skills, on academic English language development. There is a wealth of information on our module site. And again, you will be made aware of this when you're here. And you may choose to take part in a module that gives you no credits at all, but helps you improve your academic skills. So again, don't over worry if you haven't managed to keep up with that. You'll find all this information when you come. So in summary for me, before I let you go into Mark's good hands, what are we here for? We're here to support you. And you'll have support from all the different schools that you whether it's business school or engineering, or you know, if you don't find enough support, we will be throughout the entire university. You can come to our academic writing workshops. We have classes in English language and intercultural communication, online and face-to-face. We have conversation clubs where we can meet other people, ask questions, have a bit of fun at the same time as actually learn something, and one-to-one consultations with us, either in the LRCs, both campuses, or online. You know, basically we're around online, face-to-face. You will find us and we can help you. And we are Herts Academic Skills. Thank you very much for putting up with me, and I really appreciate you joining in with all the Mentimeter questions. I'll now hand you over to Mark.
Yes, thank you very much, Mary. I don't have as many questions for you as Mary has asked. So in my section, there might be a little bit more of me giving you information, but we've taken lots of fantastic information and insight from you. When I do ask a question, though, I've noticed that every one of Mary's questions got more than 100 responses. So if I get fewer than 100 responses, I will be very, very upset. And you'll see. Don't make me cry during this webinar. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 things. I'm going to talk about 2 AIs: academic integrity, artificial intelligence, and then I'm going to finish by telling you a little bit about personal tutoring. I don't think I can talk about academic integrity and explain what that means without first just saying something about assessment. Don't be afraid of assessment. When I was a student, I had a lecturer who said that assessment was an opportunity to show who we are and what we've got and what we can do. Not everyone will feel the same way, but let's try to find the positives in everything that we do. A quick question for you. Mary has already asked you a few questions about your prior educational experience. And I just wondered whether, at school, university, any education you've done so far, what types of assessment have you previously done? So I've got exams, class tests, which are slightly less formal and usually kind of take place within the regular teaching period. Oral presentations. I noted that there was kind of less confidence in giving presentations, so perhaps it's less familiar. I'm not gonna stop talking until there's over 100 responses. Depending on your subject area, you might be asked to write essays or written reports, and when you do, there'll be opportunities to learn more about the differences between those. But this is really interesting and kind of what I expected, that there are, although lots of you have been assessed on your writing before, and even through oral interviews, which is perhaps less common around the world, but the most significant answer here is exams. And when you do an exam, there are usually some very clear rules, like don't talk to each other, don't copy. Sometimes you're kind of you're not allowed to take your bag into an exam. You're not allowed to put things on a desk. You're writing on paper only. So I don't know. There might be some very enterprising people in the webinar who can tell me ways that you can cheat in those circumstances, but most of the time exams are designed in such a way that it's very difficult to cheat and not be honest about your own knowledge in the assessment. But when you come to Hertfordshire, you'll find that most of your assessments are not exams. Some of you might never do an exam in your time at Hertfordshire, and you might find it's only a few of your assessments are exams. Class tests might be more common, but much more common will be coursework, which will typically involve writing something. And as Mary's spoken about, you start your writing process by reading and thinking about the reading. So this becomes a little bit, this will be a new skill to develop for many people. And it's not just because, if you've been educated in another country, please be assured that it's the same kind of challenges for UK-based students as well. There's no education system that I know of that really uses the same writing processes for assessment that we use at university. So everyone is kind of in a similar position at university, that you're going to take your first steps in writing about reading and writing about research. And I assure you, this is like a great experience, and it's lots of fun when you engage with it, but it has its challenges too. And one of the challenges relates to what we call academic integrity. Now, if the word integrity is unfamiliar to you, you might think about this in terms of academic honesty, or being honest at university, or being honest in the work that you do at university. So I just tried to give you, apologies for the amount of text on the screen, but for us at the University of Hertfordshire, we have a very clear definition of academic integrity, and we break it down into lots of different details. But I think these are the most important 5. Academic integrity means, firstly, when you do work, you produce work that is your own, and that you'll be able to demonstrate that it's your own work. So if you write a report and submit it, anyone should be able to say to you, oh, okay, how did you do this thing here? How did you write this paragraph? And you should be able to tell them. If you are working in a group, you need to be able to make a contribution to group work, and you have to be honest about what work you've done and what contribution you've made to any group. This seems quite simple, but it's really important, and it's one of the points at which the most problems are caused is when students don't follow instructions for assessments. But if you follow assessment instructions, you are displaying academic integrity, and actually that's the first stage to doing well at university, just following instructions. Academic integrity is also avoiding actions that would give you an unfair advantage over others, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And never obtaining unauthorized external assistance in the creation of academic work. Mary's told you already that there's lots of support for you here from academic skills teams, from the people teaching you all around the university. We're very friendly and supportive people. You can get all the assistance you need within the university community. You don't need to look outside it, and you certainly don't need to start paying for it. What we want you to do is graduate at St Albans Cathedral on a beautiful day like the people in this photograph, knowing that you have earned your degree and you can really feel proud of what you've achieved. I want to give you like 2 situations to consider. I apologize if the characters in my case studies have the same name as you, but they're just based on my friends, okay, people I know. So here's a case study for you to consider, and I've got a question for you in a moment. So this is you'll be able to type in your question. Think about this. So Maria, university student at Hertfordshire. She has an essay assignment due on Friday. Today's Wednesday, but she's had some personal problems. With only 48 hours before the deadline, she hasn't started writing. And in fact, she hasn't even started reading anything that her tutor has told her to read in preparation for this assignment. 48 hours, deadline looming. Her friend James says, oh, don't worry, just Google the assignment question, get a few kind of like different academic texts, and just copy and paste some paragraphs from research articles. That will give you enough words for the assignment. You can submit that. The articles will be written by academics, so the essay you produce from that is going to be pretty good. So that's what James says. Anna, meanwhile, another friend of Maria, says, oh, I was on Instagram earlier, and there's a man there offering to write high-quality university essays. He charges a fee, but it's not very expensive. And he says he has a PhD, so he must be an expert. Right? 48 hours before the deadline, 2 pieces of advice from friends. My question to you, and I really hope I get 100 responses very quickly. What should Maria do? If you're in Menti, you can actually look back on the previous slide. Don't worry about getting the names right, but what should she do? Can she follow that advice of just like copying and pasting from articles that she's Googled? Could she go to that person on Instagram and agree to pay some money? What do you think? I've got a feeling, based on the responses to all the previous questions, that actually we have the cream of the world's minds and students in this webinar. Because actually, yeah, you might have picked up in the scenario, I mentioned that Maria had some personal problems. And there's a reason why she hasn't been able to do any work with 48 hours to go. So you're absolutely right. Stay with the help within the university. Speak to the person who set the assignment. Email them. Explain the situation. She could ask for an extension to that deadline and give herself time to do the work for herself and earn her degree. Yeah, a couple of people are saying like copy copy text, do Google it, but just rephrase it. See, academic integrity is like a spectrum. There's very rarely a kind of black and white answer. Most of the answers you're given, I think, are quite positive. But yeah, if she copies and pastes, that's actually an academic offence, and it's called plagiarism. That's not her own work. She's not using her own words, and she's not going through a process where she'll learn anything. A much worse academic offence is to pay someone else to do the work for you, or even not pay someone to do the work for you. But also, it's a crazy thing to do, because that guy on Instagram is not going to be who he says he is. If people are offering illegal activities, then you immediately know you can't trust them. So you can't trust them with your work, and you can't put your name to anything that they give you. Okay. I've got another case study. This time it's Neural, who's writing his first assignment as a student at the University of Hertfordshire. He doesn't feel confident about the quality of his work. He's done the reading. He's tried to write it by himself, but English is not his first language. He thinks his vocabulary is too basic. He's worried about grammatical errors. He's worried that his lecturer won't be able to understand what he's written. He's got two Scottish friends. Don't ask me why I decided that they were Scottish. I think it was, I wanted to say, that English is their first language, and they have beautiful accents, right? So he's got two Scottish friends, Matt and Heather. Ask them for help. Matt says, don't worry. He can use the grammar check in Microsoft Office, and that will correct any mistakes for him, and it will be fine. But Heather says, oh, I'll read your work for you. She reads it. She takes a red pen. She corrects mistakes for him. She suggests some changes to the vocabulary he's used. And suddenly he's got a new piece of work, maybe. And he thinks, wow, the words that Heather's suggesting are like really impressive, but I don't actually know what many of them mean. What should he do? What should Neural do? He's not feeling confident about the quality of his writing. He's worried about his use of English. Someone has said, oh yeah, just use a grammar check and a spell check. Someone else has said, well, we can do more than that.
How often does Microsoft give us the wrong things anyway?
Yeah.
It tries to make me put wrong apostrophes in places and all sorts of interesting things.
Okay. I'm going to quickly move on, even though I know that I will get 100 responses to this.
Well,
but I think the first answer that someone posted was great. I mean, actually, he can use some of the services on campus. His friend Matt is absolutely right. We're not expecting anyone's English to be perfect. When no one is expecting a piece of work to have absolutely, no errors of any kind. That's not realistic. But you can use software to point out where there might be grammatical errors. Microsoft Word will underline things in a color, and you can check them for yourself. But you can also use some of the writing consultations on campus. The help from Heather was good until she was giving him words that he didn't understand. I think he crosses a point there into, if he takes language from someone else and says that's mine, but he doesn't actually know what the words mean, then, well, one, how can he trust what it is? And two, if anyone asks him, well, what do you mean by this? He can't answer it. So it's that is an academic offence. Okay, so that's a little exploration of one AI, which is academic integrity. A second AI, which is kind of very topical and people are talking about all over the world, is artificial intelligence. And I quickly wanted to ask you two questions. One is about your daily life. Which of these things do you trust artificial intelligence to do for you in your daily life? Now, when I open Spotify, I find that it only plays music that my daughter has been listening to. And Spotify now has an AI DJ with a voice and connections between songs. So we have started to listen to an AI DJ in Spotify. So choosing music to listen to is something I trust AI to do for me in my daily life. But yeah, notice we've got different numbers of responses here. You know, lots of you use it for photography on your phone. That's been a feature we've been using for years. Putting a filter on a photo, it doesn't seem like any kind of big deal, does it? We trust AI to do it. Do we trust it with medical advice? Personally, not me. I have to confess, I'm not a very beautiful person, and I do use it for shopping for beauty products. I allow Amazon to tell me what I need to buy and when I need to buy it, and that's why, yeah. I'm a little bit sad that 22 of you would allow AI to write a message to someone that you love for you. I think they want to hear from you. I think they want your words and your communication. Important point is, though, in our daily life, we have our own judgments about what we trust AI to do and what we don't trust it to do. So how about the potential for using AI in your studies? Which of these things do you trust AI to do for you in your studies? Feel free to be perfectly honest. I can't see who is saying what. But what we're going to see is that, again, we've got a kind of spectrum. Some people wouldn't trust AI to do anything, and some people would allow AI to do everything for them if they could. There is an issue, though, around academic integrity. Those of you saying you would get AI to write an essay for you, that is, I mean, for me, that's the same as if Maria went to the guy on Instagram and paid him to write an essay for her. AI can generate language. It can't think. It can't experience. It doesn't have feelings. And it might produce some text for an essay, but that wouldn't be your essay. The slides for an oral presentation, you'll typically find you can speak much better about a topic if you've thought about the slides and prepared them yourself. That idea of like using AI to check spelling and grammar and kind of polish something you've already done, I think we generally feel is okay. Translation, I certainly use AI in translation from Portuguese to English and English to Portuguese. But I'd be wary of using it to read articles for me. I know AI can summarize text for you, but you can't always trust the summary. And it's not the same experience as reading an AI summary as reading something for yourself. How this relates to kind of studying at Hertfordshire, I just wanted to establish there that AI is part of our daily lives, but we can't trust it with everything. And we shouldn't want to trust it with everything. So it's I'm sure you will find ways for AI to help you with your studies, but please remember, most important things, that it can't learn for you. Only you can learn. If you can't be sure that you trust what AI generates, then don't trust it, because Mary spoke about references, and AI is very good at generating fake references, which is an academic offense. And really important is that there's no substitute for genuine human experiences. When we asked you what you were excited about at the beginning of the webinar, really there were lots of people writing things like meeting new people, networking. You're coming to university for a human experience, so enjoy that human experience. When you do come to UH, you'll learn about what is authorized and unauthorized use of AI on your program, and any assessments you do will tell you if you can use AI and how. So I don't want it to be something that worries you, but just be aware that as with our daily lives, we'll all have slightly different attitudes to using AI, and it won't do everything for us. Okay. A personal tutor won't do everything for you either, but I did notice that at the beginning of the webinar, and when people were talking about differences between UK education and education elsewhere, someone made this lovely point about more of a personal touch in the UK, and that there are tutors who are available, not necessarily 24/7, but yeah, I just wanted to tell you about this and reassure you that When you come to the University of Hertfordshire, there will be an actual person, not an AI, who has a special role in your life, and that will be your personal tutor. So every UH student has a personal tutor, and that is a nominated member of staff within your school, and you'll be able to reach out to them for guidance and information, and they can connect you up with other things. We don't want you to like rely on them forever, but they'll be really important when you first arrive, and there'll be a point of contact that you can email, you can meet in person, and you can get help with things that you want help. So my advice to you is, by the end of your first week in the UK, try to make sure you know the name of your personal tutor and how to contact them. Email is our primary form of communication at university. Like, you don't need to ask, please, don't ask staff like for their phone numbers, just get their email addresses, and that's how you contact them. If you come during induction, if you attend induction week, you will meet your personal tutor during induction week. If you're late for induction, there will be some kind of catch up where you'll be introduced, and you'll have a meeting with your personal tutor within the first 4 weeks of your course. That might be a group meeting, or it might be an individual meeting. Depending on your course, you might have like just a one-to-one, you might only have one-to-one meetings with your personal tutor, but many of our personal tutoring systems in schools involve like you initially see your personal tutor within a group of other students, and then later, if you need anything one-to-one, you can get it. So that's everything from us. We haven't left much time for questions, but I'm really happy to take questions. I wanted to end because we started by asking you what you were excited about, and our Pro Vice Chancellor for Education and Student Experience did a live, an Instagram live recently, I think, where she kind of left with this really important message that I wanted to repeat because I thought it was great. You only need to do 2 things. 1, read your emails, and 2, be excited. That's exactly, your education with us is going to be a fantastic journey. You're going to enjoy the journey, many different destinations, and all of them wonderful, I'm sure. Be excited about that. But yeah, I've seen in the chat lots of people trying to form WhatsApp groups. Do that for social purposes and connect to one another. Try not to rely on your WhatsApp group for information about your program and where you need to go, because information can go in different directions there. So do read your emails and see what the university is telling you and what your program is telling you need to do. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention and your responses. They've been absolutely fantastic. I think we've got some time for some questions.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Mark and Mary. I've learnt loads as well. So yeah, excellent session. Thank you. Me and Ellen have been answering as many typed questions as we could as we've gone. Now, if anybody does have any questions about the session today, please now use the Q&A box for those. If anybody's got kind of personal questions about their CAS start dates, anything like that, we've answered quite a lot of those, so check those in the answered section. But let me just have a look if we've got any details about that. So I've got a question here. Somebody's asked, this is likely one for me to take as well. Can we get some information about the induction week? So yes, you can. There'll be a lot of information added to the event calendar online, which we've sent an email round for you. Regarding the kind of the support sessions as well, Mark and Mary, how would people find out kind of when they're happening and when to go to them?
Well, it's part of every induction program for every student who comes. So it will be within their program induction, they will meet academic skills staff. So it could potentially be us, could be members of our team, but we've got a kind of like wider team with some people work inside the schools. So there will be someone from academic skills, and they will introduce you to the resources that are available and give you the links that you need. Like the link that we gave earlier, you can't access that page until after you've registered, and you'll be given that link again. You'll see the QR codes around as well. As this is, I think, largely an international student group, we'll also have members of our team around international student registration. So, if there's a queue, there'll be someone to talk to, and we'll give out kind of flyers where you'll get like QR codes and links. And yeah, eventually you'll ask us to stop bothering you, but we will give you we'll do lots of information. And we'll get that URL into some of the emails that go out to.
Oh, they'll never. It's so useful. Honestly, somebody's asked very specifically, will there be a session on reflective writing?
Yeah, if reflective writing is part of your kind of assessment landscape, if it's something you need to do, and I mean, I would say, I'm not sure there's a good job in the world that doesn't require some reflection. So people talk early on about their expectations of a more practical experience at Hertfordshire, and we certainly believe in learning from doing, learning from experience, and learning from reflecting on that. So reflective writing is really important, and yeah, we have resources on it, we have workshops on it, and no matter how kind of specific your concern is, you can find assistance with it, because you can use our like one-to-one consultation service. You can go into one of the libraries and just sit down. Might only be 15 minutes or 20 minutes with a member of our team, but you can get the very specific guidance that you're looking for.
Brilliant. Thank you both. Now, I can't see any other questions specific relating to the session. I think a lot of questions are then asking regarding arrival aspects. So me and Ellen have been typing answers to these in the chat, everybody. So if you do have questions about those, still do check those out. We will continue to answer as many sort of typed questions as we can, but we're almost at the end of today's session. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Mark and Mary as well for coming on and sharing those insights, and also everybody who's attended for your involvement as well. It was great to kind of see you getting involved with those Mentimeter online things as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's just been a couple of questions that have kept sort of coming up more broadly. So just to kind of address those quickly. So a couple are about registration and the online portal. If you are having any issues with that, if you email ask@herts.ac.uk, they're the first point of call, and they'll be able to help you with any issues. A couple asking about timetables and when the schedules will be ready. Once you have completed the registration process, then your timetable will be made available for you, and that will detail, when and where your classes are. And then also a few people asking if this session will be recorded. Yes, it is. We'll be putting it on our YouTube channel soon. So if you want to go back and look at it again, or for anybody who hasn't been able to join live, it will be on our YouTube channel, and we will send around a recording.
And we didn't put it on the slides, but if anyone wants to get in touch, we're Herts Academic Skills. So that's HAS, quite easy to remember. So the email address is just has@herts.ac.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll end the session now then. I know we have reached the end of the hour, but yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today. And once we have got this session recording ready, we will be able to share it with you, because I know some of you, your internet's been dropping out and things. But yeah, thank you so much. We hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, wherever you are in the world, and we look forward to welcoming you onto campus in September.
Look forward to seeing you, everyone. Have a safe trip.
Yeah, if you see us on campus, say
Yeah.
hello.
Take care.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.